Hi, I'm Bob Saul from Lithofin, and in the series of cleaning, protecting and maintaining, today we're going to look at sealing internal porcelain tiles. Today we're going to be looking at the product Lithofin Protective Impregnator, and this is a water-based product that once applied to porcelain tiles and cementitious grouts will give you water and oil protection. So that'll take up any porosity in the porcelain if there is any. And also it'll take up the porosity of the cement grout to give water and oil protection and make it easier to maintain the floors. There's a couple of reasons why we might use this product. In some cases there are still tiles out there that require pre-sealing prior to grouting. If you've got those tiles, you should be informed by your tile supplier whether these tiles need to be sealed before grouting and maybe once after. The before will obviously protect the tile from taking any sort of cement residues or pigmentation from the grouting process. And once that's cleared away and the tiles are dry, you can apply this product for a second time, which will include the new grout, which will obviously make it easier to maintain. Before we use this product, we need to ensure that the tiles are fully clean. There's a couple of bits, so fully clean and fully dry, released of all moisture, and that generally is down to the grout joint. But if we do need to clean them, we may need to, if it's a new installation, you may need to remove a slight grout residue or a grout haze. If that's the case, we've got cement residue remover, and we've got a video that you can have a look at to perhaps take you through those processes to get rid of any grout residues you may have. If it's an older floor, or if you've got a floor that's on site that has got a little bit dirty, before we apply any impregnator, we want to ensure that the floor is fully clean. Lithofin Intensive Cleaner, dilute this maybe 1 to 10, 1 to 20 even, work through the floor sections in small controlled sections, white pad, scrubbing brush if it was a textured tile, and that just degrease the tiles in preparation ready for the sealer. Once you've cleaned either the grouts or just general greases, it's time to apply the protective impregnator, and we need to wait for the grout to be fully dry and released of all moisture. That may take several days. If it's a new installation of grout, it may take slightly longer because we're again waiting for that moisture of the installation moisture to come out. So protective impregnator, when we're applying, I tend to use a sponge on the smaller floors. On the bigger floors, you can apply it with a mop. So that basically can be mopped, and what we're going to do is we're going to work small controlled sections and basically saturate those sections through, keep them wet, and give this product an opportunity to take up any porosity in the tile, but also obviously into the cement grouts, which will obviously take a little bit more product in. So when we're applying it, I tend to put the product into a tray. Just give that a little shake. Now we would always recommend to test, and if you want to, you can just test this on 2 tiles. That'll just ensure that there's no colour change. Now that normally be to the grout, so the tiles don't tend to change colour in any way. The grouts, some cases may go slightly darker, but not a great deal. But we just want to make a test just to ensure that we're happy with that, putting it across the main floor. So we've got this test section, let's say. Everything's clean, everything's dry, it's degreased, and we're going to apply the product by applying it quite generously, okay, to these test tiles, generously and evenly. It doesn't matter if you get foaming or anything like that. With the key thing with any impregnators is that you are saturating them and then you remove them fully. Okay, so just ensure that that's nice and generous. We'll just put that across. Like I say, if you've done your test and you're working larger sections of the floor, you can go to the back of the room, maybe do whatever you can reach, or if you're mopping it through, and maybe come down the sides on these porcelain floors as well. So what we're going to do is walk round, and the key to these products, as you can see on you may be able to see, is what they tend to do on polished is they'll tend to separate a little bit. So what we're doing is we're just moving this around every couple of minutes, ensuring that we're going over that cementitious grout so it can take in as much product as it wants to. But we're just ensuring that it's not drying on the surface. Okay, so once we've saturated that out, we're gonna saturate each section for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, and again, just move it every few minutes to just keep pushing that around, pushing it across the grout joints. So again, they can absorb more product if they want it. So once that's been sitting, obviously we're not going to let this sit for 20 minutes, but let's say we have had this down now, we've moved it sort of continuously every few minutes. We're then going to remove the excess. Okay, what we don't want is we don't want to leave a wet look finish to the floor. It's not a varnish as such, it's an impregnator. It goes into the tile or into the grout. It doesn't sit on top, and we're going to remove all excess. Now we can start to remove that with the sponge and just take that up. On larger sections, when I'm doing larger floors, I may use a squeegee to bring that forward and onto the next section, so we're not wasting any product. But if you've got smaller floors, you can just sponge that back up, back into the paint tray. Now the paint tray is for basically when you've got behind you, what you don't want to do is put your sponge directly onto the floor. That can leave shapes or marks sometimes. So pop that into the tray, pop your bottle into the top of the tray, and that'll just stop any marks coming through. Now once you've taken off as much as you can with the sponge, or you've used your larger mop or a squeegee even to pull that through, I'm going to take an old white towel and we're going to buff this fully dry. It will state to remove all excess. Okay, so we'll just start to take this back, and you literally this should be buff dry, so it's touch dry. If you leave even a light residue on there, that can harden on the top of the porcelain. The polymers can then dry, and it can show you sort of streak marks, or you may find you walk across it and you'll see even footprints. If you ever get that, if you're unsure, just give us a call on the number which is on the back of the bottle, and we'll run through how you knock that back. But just a little bit of intensive cleaner, 1 to 3, and do a test section, but work with a white pad, and that basically should just knock that back. We'll leave it a few days just to dry and then just top it up. But once you've had that saturated, you're buffing that, and literally we are touch dry. That means on the application there's no sponge marks or streaking. Very simple application, just work methodical sort of sections. And once you've got it to this point, if you are doing the test, maybe leave this overnight, have a look, see how the grout's coming out, the finish to the tile, which there should be none to the surface. But if you have any problems with this test, give us a call on the technical line and we'll just run through what might be going on for you. But once this is complete, all you really have to do then is, this will be dry, but we'll let it takes about 4 or 5 days to fully cure. So we'd probably keep mopping at bay and leave that for 4 or 5 days before you start mopping the floor. All you've got to do then is maintain it. If you're a tiler and you're leaving this with a client, we've got things like the method statements specifically for porcelain floors, and that will tell your client, it'll show you roughly what you've done applying the product, but on the reverse it's how to look after the floor. So the method statements is what I used to leave my clients, and if they have any problems, they've got our technical line on the bottom of the method statement. We'll do a video on maintaining the porcelain, which will be products like the conditioning cleaner or the intensive cleaner again for deep cleaning. But once you've got to this point, that should be good to go for water and oil repellency and ease maintenance. If you have any problems, like I say, contact us on the telephone number or have a look at the website. The details will follow, and we can have a chat with you about finishing your floors. Thank you.